Hello and welcome to the Brutal Iron Gym podcast, where our goal is to cut through the BS and deliver the brutal truth about topics related to health and happiness. So today's topic is trainer education, and the title is Reduced Cost Service Ideas to Rebuild Clientele. So with the craziness that the coronavirus has caused in our industry, it's going to be a little bit harder to kind of maintain the normal client load that we probably had before the virus kicked in and got in the way. Meaning we may have lost some in-person clients temporarily, obviously, due to restrictions and kind of stay-at-home limitations. And as a trainer, we're probably wondering if those clients will return or how we can get them back or how we can entice them to return. Now, hopefully a lot of people have done well with doing like online work, maybe doing programming online, nutrition support, accountability or motivational support, some of the other ways in which we can still help people. But when you want to get back to in-person services and maybe expand other ways in which you can provide services, we wanted to provide ideas for that. So with clients, they may have lost their jobs, they might have reduced income due to the coronavirus, they might have more fear of kind of like what's to come or what's going to happen, in the upcoming year. So maybe they'll be a little more tight with their money than they typically would be. So this is going to require a need for us to find ways to reduce the kind of barrier of cost for our clients. So how can we entice them to come back even though all of these uncertainties and other issues are coming up? So we have 5 tips we're going to go through today and just talk about a little bit of the pros and cons of them. And hopefully this will give you an idea as a trainer on how you can kind of rebuild your clientele or entice people to come back. So the first thing we have, the first couple might seem like common sense, but sometimes it's nice to mention common sense things because when we are in kind of like crazy times, we're not always thinking with a clear brain. So give me a little bit of patience on the first couple, and then we have some more kind of special ones that might be better insights towards the end of the 5. So the first one we have is just shorter sessions. So if you typically do 1-hour sessions, you can reduce to 30-minute sessions. That allows you to reduce your cost. I would not reduce the cost by 50%. So you actually want 30-minute sessions to be above half the cost of a 60-minute session, so it promotes the person to actually buy the 60 minutes, if that makes sense. So if your full cost is whatever, say X, a half that session time, okay, you might have it be, say, 66%. So let's just do math because like numbers here that are easy. But say like an hour training session costs $50. Maybe a 30-minute session, you can have that cost maybe $30, $35, to where somebody can see that if they spend a little bit more money, they get more return for their money. And that does promote them then to buy the longer sessions. However, if they do have a financial restriction, they can at least have the option now to buy a 30-minute session as opposed to a 60-minute session. So there is benefit in reducing cost to allow them the option for a cheaper service, but you want to be careful in the way you price that service so it doesn't promote you to lose business in the long run, if that makes sense. But that is something you can do, is just shorter sessions. So if you already do 30-minute sessions, you could offer 15. That it is hard to train somebody very well in 15 minutes. However, I've actually done that before in many, many, many occasions where people are just limited in time. You have somebody who works like a big corporate job or whatever, and they only have an hour for lunch, and they have 15 minutes to commute to you, like 15 minutes to your place, 15 minutes back, so that in theory gives them 30 minutes, but by the time they come in, change their shoes, by the time you talk about the day, you really are only left with maybe 20-minute session. So you can do 15, 20-minute sessions very well. It's just using techniques such as like circuits, rest pause, drop sets, and things like that, and very large compound movements so you can use multiple muscle groups at one at a time, like per exercise, rather than doing like bicep curl, tricep, press downs, like individualized isolative type movements. You would do large full body movements. But that is an idea, is shortening your session time. So that's one option. And I personally like 60-minute sessions because I feel like I get more time to address the individual needs and even work on things like rehab. You can even talk about their emotions and mental state towards their training and their nutrition. It gives you a little bit more in-depth connection with the person. However, you can still get great results and still make a big difference in someone's life, even with just like say 30-minute or even shorter than that sessions. But that is an option. It's a great option. And even if you don't have the personality for 30-minute sessions, it's still a great option to do it so that way you can build your clientele and make sure you stay in business. So the next suggestion we have is group sessions. So rather than training individuals, you can promote partner or small groups. Now, again, I kind of don't tend to lean towards that in my business. For me, I like having that one-on-one connection. I've done partner sessions a bunch before. I've done small group training for years at a time, so I know how to do that and I know how it's done and all that stuff. And there is a ton of fun to it, but it doesn't fit necessarily my personality. I do one-on-one 1 hour sessions, and I've been very blessed to be able to build my business to that, where I get to have the selection of what type of clientele I want to work with and what kind of structures. But if you're still building your business where you have to just kind of take whatever structure works, these are great options. So you can do single sessions if somebody doesn't have the money. You can say, hey, you know what? I have another person who's maybe looking for a similar goal as yours, and they're looking for a similar time frame. So maybe they're looking for Tuesday nights at 5 o'clock. You have somebody that asks you for that, but they can't really afford a full session. We'll pair them with another person who's looking for Tuesday evenings or a weekday evening. And you can train them together, give them a discounted cost. They both get the benefits. Everybody's happy kind of thing. So you have to kind of open your mind to being more willing to look into or kind of figure out different structures and formats. So you can switch from single person to partners or even small groups. And that allows, again, just more lowered cost. So people have that ability to still get some help, and you have that ability to still build some financial benefit for you while obviously helping people. Another option we have, option number 3, is a lot of times large corporations or large gyms, fitness centers and whatnot, they'll have personal training signed up under contract lengths. So I've consulted with a lot of gyms. So we do trainer consultations, right? We'll have individual one-on-one trainers where I've helped them build their own gyms or build their own business in regards to how they work with clients. And it's super fun. I love it and I enjoy it. I've also worked with large fitness centers on how to do personal training systems, and there's like tons of personal training directors I've talked to, and often large gyms like that will have their trainers sign people up for say a 6-month or a 12-month contract length. People might not have the money to put down the down payment and make the initial kind of commitment to a 12-month contract. So you may have to reduce your contract length. Now, if you're not the personal training director, you can still present this to the personal training director and maybe ask them if they could do it temporarily or let you be kind of the way to prove if it works kind of thing. But if you're having trouble getting people to sign up, if you're having trouble bringing money into the club, they're going to want to help you because they want the money too. So just present this to them, tell them the benefits of it, and hopefully they'll work with you in order to help you build your business, because in turn it helps them build theirs. So if you previously have done 12-month contracts, try 6-month. If you've done 6 months, try 3 months. So if you're truly desperate and you really need to bring it back up, when people start filtering through the door, you can have, say, the first 100 people who join back into the gym, they get offered 1-month contracts. So, and if you're a good trainer, there's no issues with this whatsoever because people will sign back up. So I, for example, don't have any contract lengths at all. If somebody doesn't think I'm getting them good results, they're welcome to leave. I'd be disappointed myself more than anything else. But I don't use contracts because, first of all, I don't like having to force people to stay with me. If I'm good, they'll want to stay with me. If I'm really good and I teach them how to not need me, then I'll move on to another person. So the benefit, like the goal isn't to hook people forever. The goal is to teach them what they need so they can train themselves. And if you do that in a fun way, if you do that well, they'll continue with you long term because they want to continue to learn more and more from you. So I've had my gym now for 9 years, and I have clients who have had from the very first year. and they very much know what they're doing, but they just like having the accountability. They like having the motivation. They like learning new things all the time. They like having somebody count the reps for them and just tell them what to do when they show up through the door. So there's tons and tons of ways that you can provide benefit to your clients, and you don't need to hook them under a contract. So you don't need contracts to make people stay with you long term. You just need to know what the hell you're doing. Okay. So that is something you can do to reduce their fear of like financial commitment by just reducing contract lengths. So those three are probably the most kind of like obvious things that you could modify is shorter sessions, trying to do partner or group sessions, and then reducing contract lengths or even eliminating contracts for a period of time. So those are three you can experiment with. The fourth we have is reducing the depth of service. So with a lot of people I work with, there's a general theory, I can't think of the terminology right now, but it's basically along the lines, I think the phrasing is being a mile wide but an inch deep. So that's something I never wanted to do with my approach to helping people with their health, physical health. I got into personal training because I really enjoyed making a one-on-one personal difference with people. I knew how much physical health made a huge benefit, not only in like physical training and exercise, okay, and proper nutrition. That made a huge difference in my physical health, but way more importantly and way more beneficially, it helped my emotional and mental health. And I wanted to be able to give that gift to other people. So that's what got me into personal training. So I like a one-on-one type feel because I get to see how in-depth it's going for their life. And I get to kind of help them navigate the same kind of pitfalls and obstacles I ran into. And I want to make sure they don't stop at those and they keep plowing through and find a way through so they can get the same benefit I got. So I like having like in-depth services. So often with my clients, I'll do their training. I'll also do their nutrition. I'll also do check-ins every week. I'll follow them up with adherence charts. I do like a motivational Monday email now that's free to anybody, but I make sure I send it to my clients as well, where I have a motivational kind of write-up. I have some kind of video or audio thing that motivates them, and then I have a podcast to pair with that concept. But I do a lot of parts of the service, because I want to make sure I can give them the best that I have to give them. However, that does come at a higher cost. So one of the ways to reduce costs is to maybe pull back on the depth of the service. So if, for example, you're helping somebody with a program that has nutrition training and like check-ins and like maybe even like video things where you check their form, you give them feedback, okay, on technique. You maybe can offer those services in chunks. So break it apart and do just a nutrition chunk, training chunk, check-ins, like an accountability, motivational type chunk. And you can also do like a technique review. So the person might say, hey, you know what, I want some help, but I don't really need maybe the motivational check-in. I'm pretty motivated myself. I've always been motivated. I'm an athlete, blah, blah, blah. So maybe they pull that part out. Well, you might have somebody who they're a little overwhelmed with going back to work and with the changes happening, so they know they're not maybe ready to take on a big nutritional change. So maybe they just went to training and they want somebody to check in on them, and they hope that the training will help with physical health, even though they're maybe not making a huge change in their diet, or maybe they're actually already eat well. So they don't really need a lot of nutritional help. So you can break apart in-depth services into individual chunks, and that is a way to kind of reduce the cost for that person, and maybe they'll take the chunks, put together a program of their own, and you might not make as much money per individual, but you're going to be able to at least get some money, get somebody started. Then maybe as they become more financially sound or more open to spending the finances as this coronavirus kind of passes, they might go ahead and add back in the other chunks, or you can then at that time go back to offering the service as a whole unit. So remember that whatever you do right now, you do not have to do forever. So you're not committing to anything for any length of time other than what you want. So this might be some ideas that you put in place just for a month, see how it works. If it works well, keep it for another month. If you don't like it, go back to what you were doing before or try something new. But these are just ideas that you can try and see what response you get and modify as you go. So some of the fear of talked with other trainers during like consultations with, is they're afraid if they make a change like this, what if they don't like it? Then change it right back. There's absolutely no need for you to stick with something that longer than what you want. So you are your own business, you make your own rules. So now, if you do work for a club, you can talk with your personal training director and mention to them that these are ideas to help growth. And maybe they can allow you as the individual trainer to try some of these new ideas. So I've talked to tons of personal training directors over the years who would be willing to probably have one trainer be like the trial and error trainer for new ideas. So it's not a bad thing at all. It's not a bad thing to present to them. And again, at the end of the day, what you're telling them is, I want to help you make more money. So they're going to listen to you. Okay. So obviously our goal is to help people. But with helping people does come money. So as long as you keep that focus, it's going to help you still make changes in a positive way, not only for you, but also for your clients. Then also you can change the depth of your service in regards to how many sessions a week. So maybe you have contract lengths of like 6 months contracts where you meet with somebody 3 times a week. Well, you can offer a 3-month contract and maybe only meet once or twice a week. So you can reduce how much time investment you have, which helps you reduce the cost. And therefore, again, gets people to sign up for programs again as they're coming back into gyms, and they maybe will have a little bit of financial fear. This is a way for you to kind of get over that hurdle. And again, in a month or 2 or 3, you can go back to the way you normally do it, but this is a great way to rebuild. Okay? So the final idea we have is something that I'm actually looking to implement as well, is mass programming. So currently I do a lot of individualized, personalized training, and I believe in it immensely because everybody's a little bit different. A lot of the people I work with, actually half my clients are personal trainers, and they want a personalized approach so they can be their best because it means a lot to them. I work with a lot of athletes who compete in aesthetic sports like bikini, fitness, figure, wellness, bodybuilding, men's physique, classic physique, women's physique, all of those categories, and powerlifting. I help people who want to get scholarships for sports. Okay, so there's a lot of individuals who are very driven, and they would pay more for personalized programming, and they absolutely need personalized programming because they want to be personally their best. But there's also people who just want to lose weight, and maybe they're brand new to lifting. So what they need to know isn't that specific. It's just, how do you use a leg press? How many reps do I do for general weight loss? That kind of stuff. So one of the ideas you can do is to offer programming that would be more like mass programming rather than individualized. Say, hey, you know what, if you're a power lifter, here's, a 4, 8, or 12-week program. If you want to build muscle, here's a program. If you want to lose fat and shape the muscle, just change your body shape, here's another program. And the issues I've had in the past with creating mass programming is because I knew it was limited in how good it would be compared to individualized programming. But individualized programming does cost more. So how do people get programming help but at a lower cost is they purchase mass programming? Well, if you don't offer it, then they're going to get that help from someone. And chances are that someone won't care as much as you care. So it's better to get it from you than from a trainer who doesn't care about them and just wants to make money and is just sending out a bunch of stupid programming. So I've had a client who I used to work with in the past. They had financial trouble. They had to move away from the gym, and I had heard from them that they had got a kind of a mass program before they were coming back to talk to me. They actually wanted to get in better shape before they asked me for help, which was hilarious. And I told them I'd always help them no matter what. But they had kind of taken a little bit of time off from lifting. They were embarrassed, so they wanted to get a program. But the program they purchased, this was a working mom who just wanted to lose some weight. She didn't have a great athletic background, and if I had to take a guess on the age, it'd be like low 40s. So they wanted a program that was titled for fat loss, and it was female fat loss. They got the programming from this trainer, and it was mass programming, but it was supposed to be individually selected per person. So they had to answer questions, they had to email what their goals were, and this trainer was supposed to send them the program that was best for them. Well, this training had like a whole bunch of plyometric jumps in it. It had sprints and other things that there's no way in hell this 40-year-old lady is going to do. So I was very sad for her that she paid this money, and clearly the trainer didn't give a shit about what they sent her. So if you don't offer mass programming, that's what you're leaving your clients left to. Okay, and people you care about. So it's always better for them to get it from you because you will care rather than somebody who doesn't. So towards this end, I'm working on writing writing mass programming towards powerlifting, towards muscle building, which would be male or female, and powerlifting's male or female, and general fat loss and shape. So I wanted to try to focus on those three areas since they're the three most common goals people have that I work with, and offer them programming for, say, like 12 weeks. And this would be a low-cost program, but then it would offer me, as the trainer, abilities to offer services branched off those programs. So maybe they can get nutritional support to make sure the effectiveness of the program is its best. Maybe they can get single kind of training sessions just to learn how to do some of the bigger movements of the programs. Maybe they can get help with motivation and accountability, so they can do weekly check-ins. Or they want to do technical support, like technique support, to where they might send you videos every week and you can kind of check in on those. So there are ways for you to build services off of those base programs and still be able to offer personalized help, but almost as a second service above the mass programming, so that way you can have that individualized help that you know people need, but they can get it maybe at a lower cost. So these are some great options. And if you're wanting to, you're welcome to get the programming from us. So you can buy the programming, the powerlifting, the muscle building, or the fat loss and shape programming, and you can try it yourself, learn from it, maybe tweak it, and kind of develop your own program. And it will give you an idea on how to work it. I'll obviously help you with any of the services as well. And then this is something that maybe you can extend if you don't feel comfortable writing the mass programming yourself. You can get your clients to, obviously they could send to us and we could sell it to them, and then you can offer assistance on how to implement that programming. So there's lots of trainers I know. So there's one person, he has a business, and basically his entire business is to go into work with people who are already following programs, but they're maybe having like hip pain when they squat. They're having knee pain when they deadlift. They may be having shoulder pain when they bench press. So his concept is, you keep doing your program. I'm just going to teach you how to do the program better. And it doesn't mean that they're improving the program. They're just better improving how that individual would apply themselves to the program. So maybe that's an idea you can do as well. So there's some ideas out there for you to try and play with and see if this is something you can use to kind of rebuild your clientele, give you more options on how to have more money coming in, and obviously be able to help more people. So again, the 5 general tips are shorter sessions, using partner group sessions. You can shorten your contract lengths. You can also have reduced depth services, such as chunking apart a big service into individual parts. And you can also reduce sessions like per week from, say, 3 a week to 2 a week, stuff like that. You can also offer mass programming. So you can always purchase it from us, see how we do it, and like I said, that'll give you good ideas for you. And the mass programming then gives you the ability to offer services off of that, branched off of that. So tons of ideas there, and we are thankful for and appreciate the trainers who've reached out for like training consultations where they'll tell us their individual kind of case of what's happening, and we help them build their business from there. So we help with pricing, we help with structures, help with even exercise and workout kind of creation, anything you need. So if there's something that you feel is specific to you and you're not sure how to tackle that or beat that when you're looking at getting back to growing your business or able to sustain your business. So if you have any kind of special scenario, special situation, just reach out to us. Our email is brutalironjim@gmail.com, and I promise we'll find a way to help you. And one of the main reasons why I love having like half my clients be personal trainers, why I love doing personal training consultations and even big gym consultations, is if you can help a trainer, you then in a sense are helping everybody that trainer helps. If I can help somebody make a kick-ass awesome gym, then it helps every single individual who walks through that gym. So that's my motivation, is to make a big difference and try to help as many people as I can live their best life. So if there's anything at all that you need, please reach out to us, and I promise we'll help. Okay, so thank you for listening, and I wish you the best of luck with kind of continuing your business and trying to grow your business. So again, make sure you check out our personal trainer education podcasts are basically every fourth podcast we do. So make sure you check out some of the recent ones for kind of learning how to motivate yourself, learning how to motivate clients, thinking outside the box and thinking of different types of services you can offer. So check those out for more information and more support. We truly appreciate you listening to the podcast, and I appreciate you personally wanting to make a difference in people's lives and help them live the best life. So if there's anything you need to do that, please let us know. Okay? So thank you very, very much. And if you do think this podcast will be helpful, if you know some trainer friends you want to send it to, anybody at all, so please share the podcast, not only this one, but all of our other ones. So if there's a nutrition podcast or training podcast you like, please share it. We appreciate it when you do, because the more people we help, the happier the world will be. And then if you like more information like from this, you can find more from us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Brutal Iron Gym. And if you have any questions, feedback, or suggestions, so if there's anything you need to know or anything you'd want to know, please let us know. Okay? So the podcast is for you. So we want to know what you want to learn about. And you can tell us at our email at brutalironGym@gmail.com. As always, I hope this was helpful. And thank you for listening. And thank you for watching.